into the Australian Survivor Hall of Fame in 2021 is the fourth winner overall to be included and second ever player from Season 6, Pia Miranda. Now, Pia went into the second ever Champions vs Contenders season as not only one of Australia's favourite and most beloved actresses, but a massive Survivor fan, having watched the show since the very beginning of the US version back in the year 2000. Famously, she said in the very first episode that she would either be the first boot or the winner. And, well, she was absolutely right. After avoiding being the first boot, she worked her way through the game in a brilliant, stealthy manner that saw her connect with numerous players, make strong social bonds and strategic moves before backing up her gameplay perfectly at the final Tribal Council to secure the first and only unanimous win in Australian Survivor history with a 9-0 vote against Baden Gilbert. In her first year of eligibility for the Australian Survivor Hall of Fame, Pia received a strong vote from both the fans and expert panel to firmly place her among the all-time greats of the Australian version of Survivor. And to accept her induction and to chat a bit more about her time on Australian Survivor, it's a pleasure to be joined by Pia right now. Pia, many, many congratulations on your induction into the Australian Survivor Hall of Fame.
Thank you very much. I really appreciate it. What a thrill.
It's exciting to be able to chat to you about this because, I mean, as I mentioned, you've been a fan of Survivor basically since day one of the US version. I bet you never would have imagined that not only would you win the game one day, but be inducted by the fans and the experts into the Australian Survivor Hall of Fame.
Yeah, that's really lovely. Thank you to everyone who voted for me or thought of me. It's a nice little bit of cherry on top of my cake.
What was it about the show when you first watched it back in the year 2000 that really drew you into Survivor and created this fandom that you do have for the show?
I don't know. I mean, it was definitely just one of those things I very quickly got obsessed with. And I honestly, it's the first thing I've ever seen on TV where I had a desire to be involved and where I actually thought I could win something. So at the very first season, I just kept sitting back going, I reckon I could do this and I reckon I could win it. And so it became this weird obsession. And so I think not only was I watching it as a fan every single season, but I was watching it as an imaginary player in my head. And so when the opportunity came up to play, you know, it was scary because I thought, God, what if I've been doing this for 20 years and I'm a dud at this? But it was also like I couldn't say no, you know. It was just, I just really love it. It's always been my happy place, my go-to show.
Well, through all the different versions that Australia has done over the years, I mean, were you ever tempted to just throw in an application sort of before you were approached to do the show and just go, hey, I want to play this game, I'm just going to put in an application?
I tried to apply in my early 20s or mid-20s for the American version, but you had to be an American citizen. And I actually looked into how I could make that happen. And I kept entering those green card lotteries. All the other actors are entering the green card lotteries to, you know, go over an audition. I'm entering the green card lotteries to go and play Survivor.
Wow, that's crazy. That would have been completely different, sort of how that played around. And what do you do then when you maybe get that phone call? Hey, you've got the green card. Why are you doing this? I want to go on Survivor. Thanks, please let me into the US.
Be worth it. Who could say that?
Yeah, I'm sure that you would be very unique, basically, in that aspect to do that. So did you get approached sort of by Channel 10 to do it, or were you really banging on the door? You just did Champions vs Contenders. Hey, put me on this show right now.
No, I mean, when I watched I was watching Champions vs Contenders. That was the first Australian season I'd watched. I was more of like an American purist. And then 10 were doing this replay at like 1 o'clock in the afternoon every day, which was like my gym time. So I was watching it at the gym. And then I kept thinking how kind of annoyed I was that I hadn't been asked. And then I was doing press for another TV show, and it was one of those Q&A things, and it was like, if you could be on any TV show, what would you be on? And I said Survivor, and I went on this whole rant about how much I love Survivor, how, you know, watching Mike White on Survivor, who is in the industry as well, obviously different caliber, but, you know, in the industry, it was really exciting for me and I'd love to play. And literally the next day I got a phone call because they were casting just at that time.
Wow. Gee, yeah. These interviews can be powerful then, Pia. What you say could like put you on that.
I know. I remember my husband, I remember saying, oh, should I say Survivor or should I say something else? And I was like, no, I'm just going to be truthful. And I remember him saying to me, be careful what you wish for.
Well, hey, in that case, it kind of ended up playing out for the better. What was the biggest difference to you between watching and playing Survivor, besides some of the obvious things of having to sleep out there on the beach, bugs, all that kind of stuff? Was there a key difference that maybe as a big fan shocked you that you didn't think about before?
Definitely. I think because, I was mostly invested in the American seasons. I probably should have gone back and watched more Australian seasons because I wasn't quite prepared for the horror of the challenges. So all of the individual challenges for me were quite easy. I do lots of yoga, so I quite looked forward to those every day. But the team challenges were I just was not prepared for the level of upper body strength you needed, long legs you needed. So if you've got short legs, Sean will back me up. If you've got short legs, it's a really big disadvantage. And, lots of height stuff, just, having to climb over things and hurt yourself. So much swimming, jumping. I hate heights, jumping off these high boards. Just every time I turned up for those team challenges, I was just really, really stressed out. Once we got to the individual challenges, I felt like that was my time to shine.
The famous quote I said at the beginning about you're either going to be the first boot or the winner. When you survive that first tribal council, are you then, I've won this game now? Or were you still sort of going, oh shit, with the things I've got to do here right now?
It was funny. I survived that boot, and then I really knew that, I very quickly after that moment, I saw Janine and I said, oh, thanks for not voting for me. And she said, no, I did. And we laughed. And then we met Luke at the well and I said, oh, thanks for not voting me. He said, oh, I did. Then we laughed. And then we kind of looked around and I said, okay, we've got a 4 because he was saying, well, Dave, because Dave was the one who kind of let me know I was okay. And Luke said we could get a 4 with Dave. And then the 4 of us, the 3 of us, me, Janine and Luke, worked out the 2 people we could flip. So Janine and I worked a lot on Abby. Luke and Dave worked on Ross. And then once they flipped, I felt like I was a really good shot at winning because I had that core alliance.
It's those little moments, right, that kind of build the path and kind of keep going forward, which, again, as a fan, I mean, they're those moments I can imagine you're loving, you're relishing the fact that I'm strategizing, I'm on Survivor right now, I'm making alliances, I'm flipping votes, like this is what I've always wanted to do.
I knew also that kind of mood that I had, which carried me throughout the game, which was, if someone did me wrong or if someone voted for me, I was just really like, hey, man, I don't care at Survivor. And I think that's one thing that really helped me get that first alliance of 4, which then turned into a 6, was just being super cool about it and having fun. And, even if I was like pissed off and dying inside, I'd be like, yeah, no worry, dude. So I think that was sort of something that I felt like was fun to do, when really inside I was like, I want to kill you all.
Best way to be, right? That's kind of what you've got to do. I mean, besides the obvious answer of winning the season, Pia, what was your best memory of playing Survivor?
Gosh, there were so many. I mean, I think the one thing that I truly loved about playing Survivor was obviously, those moments when I would stand there and I think, my God, I'm on my favorite TV show. So that was just those moments where I could stand outside myself, especially I think post-merge when, I was a bit more relaxed. And I think just all of those little moments that you don't see on television, which was we had no phones, we had nothing to distract us. And you really sit up till 2, 3 in the morning and giggle like, your 10-year-old kids. When you have a sleepover and you just laugh and laugh and laugh, and you really lose that as an adult. And so those moments, I think for me, were really priceless. Sitting up till 2 in the morning, laughing with Ross and starting fires and just doing ridiculous things. You're not drinking, you're not doing anything, you're just hanging out, like old school hanging out and not looking at your phone. And that was really wonderful for me.
You mentioned about sort of the fans being involved in this Hall of Fame voting, but for you to be a fan, win the game, and then kind of come back into the fan community now as a winner, I mean, how have you found interacting with fans now that you've been on the show and you've won? I mean, it must be a unique experience that you can still say, well, thanks, but I'm also still a fan. Like, what do you think of this season that we're watching as well?
I mean, that's the thing I enjoy the most. Obviously I had a tricky time with a lot of the casual fans when I was on Survivor. So it was pretty rough for me for about a week. But all of the true, like the really old school Survivor fans have 100% been so wonderful to me, Reddit, Twitter, all those really just old school fans. And so I think just how wonderful they were to me when I was playing, when I was going through a tough time, has just really warmed my heart. And then now when I watch Survivor and then I want to tweet about it, like people actually give a shit what I think, which is amazing. I'll talk to anyone. I mean, you could ask people. People will like message me on Instagram, message me on Twitter. I get back to people and I'm just talking like a normal person who just likes Survivor. And that's one thing I really love, is just chatting to people all around the world who are just fans like me.
Which also, back to your point about how you were trying to look at going on to the US version, we're seeing now with obviously Russell having been on Survivor, the rumours floating around about Sandra being on the next season, so there's this connection between US and Australia. Are you hopeful that we could see CBS one day going, hey, let's role reverse here, let's get some Australians on, and that you could maybe be standing in front of Jeff Probst all of a sudden one day?
I mean, yes. But also there's a couple of people that I reckon would end up on that season that would like want me gone first. So like Dave and I are really good friends and we absolutely adore each other. I'm telling you, you put us on an island, we are gunning for each other like first boot, and he's good at wings, he's got muscles and I don't. So, I mean, you know, and I did get a pretty severe autoimmune disease out there. So that would scare me a bit because it took me a long time to recover from that, but never say never. I mean, who's going to say no to Jeff, right?
Exactly. If he's right there, you know, why would you say that? I've got a very tough question for you now, Pia. What means more to you, winning the AFI for Best Actress back in 2000 or winning Survivor?
Oh God, do you reckon anyone from my industry will hear this for winning Survivor?
You say Survivor, it's all right. Like they just, you know, we know the truth.
Survivor, 100%. It meant more to me.
But not to take away from the AFI.
Nothing wrong with an AFI. It was really a wonderful joy, but, you know, Survivor kind of means a lot to me. I mean, on my deathbed, I think that's what I'll be thinking about. You know? We'll
make sure we put that like on the eulogy. You know, sad day today. Pia Miranda died. Winner of Survivor, followed by actress. We'll talk to some people there. Now, before we let you go, Pia, it's obviously been a few years since you've played Survivor. Give us an update. What are you up to now, and any projects that you're working on at the moment that maybe the fans will get to see you in at all anytime soon?
I live in Melbourne, so I've literally been staring at the walls for 2 years. Like, I've been locked down for 2 years. It's been really intense. So I've been catching up on a lot of Survivor, but I do have some stuff coming up now, which is really nice. I shot a film in January, just in that little block that we had off, and I have a little project coming up. It's more to do with cooking actually than acting.
Wow.
But yeah, things are just starting to warm up now, so it's nice that the phone's been ringing because it has been ringing for years. I've been in the middle of the world's longest lockdown? That's what they said. Anyway,
probably.
It's been great. I've caught up on all sorts of things. How to make cocktails, how to make sourdough.
Hey, that's always a positive, right? You know, add that to the list of achievements. So I think that's a big achievement right there. That's hard to make sourdough. So, you know, you're doing something right there, Pia. Again, Pia, congratulations on behalf of everybody at the expert panel, the fans. Many, many congratulations for your induction into the Hall of Fame. As I said to you off air, we've got some goodies which we'll ship off to you to kind of commemorate this achievement. But once again, massive congratulations for your induction into the Australian Survivor Hall of Fame.
Thank you so much. It means so much. And thank you to everybody. I'm thrilled.